In this video, I demonstrate how to set up your comms in Linux. The assumption here is that you have a Windows host and a Linux VM. First thing we want to do is figure out which serial ports are connected. In order to do that, open up your terminal and type the following: dmesj, dmessage, grep, and we're looking at TTY. These are all the connections that are currently connected on our machine. Now, you have two options for communications. One, you can use a physical wire. So to do that, you need a USB to RS232 adapter. In fact, you need two of them with a crossover cable. Once you've connected your USB to RS232 adapter to your host machine, it should show up, and when you type the message again, you'll see it will show up as, typically it will be at dev tty USB 0 and USB 1. And I'll show you the actual connections in the sample programs that we'll use to demo this. Okay, now that we know that S0 is taken, TTY S0 is taken, when we connect our other devices, it should say TTY S1 and TTY S2. Okay, if it is a serial connection. If we connect a USB device, it will be TTY USB 0 and TTY USB 1, because we have no other USB devices. All right, so what I'm going to assume now, I'm going to show you and demonstrate that you've followed my Windows virtual comms setup. So setting up virtual ports using COM0COM. What I'm going to show you next is how to actually connect those serial ports to your virtual machine. And in order to do that, you have to actually power off the virtual machine. So we know that S0 is taken. So the serial port 0 is used. So when we add new devices, the first device that we add is going to be S1. The second device is going to be S2. So let's open up our virtual machine. Okay, we're not going to run the virtual machine, but we're going to edit it. And you can see that in VMware, there are no serial ports connected, right? But our host machine does have virtual serial ports. So we click Add. And here we want to connect a serial port. Click Finish. This connection, serial port 2, is going to be S1. Okay, remember how we did that dmessage grep. TTY S1, because that's the one we're adding first. And we're going to choose COM6. This is that virtual port that we have on our Windows machine. So we have COM6 set up. And then I'm going to add COM7. It's going to be serial port, finish, and we're going to connect that to COM7. This is going to be S2, TTY S2. Click OK. And now we can start our virtual machine. I'm setting things up in a way that you can use the programs that I've given you directly. If you have any serial ports that are taken by your virtual machine, you may have to change these numbers. Okay, so now we're going to log in. And then we're going to open up a terminal, and we're going to see what devices are connected. So go here. You just push up, and that will be the last command that we just did. So you can see here, if I open this up a little bit more, that we have S1 and S2 have now been added. Okay, S1 is COM6, S2 is going to be COM7. If you didn't have an S0, then your numbers may be different. Okay, so what we want to do next is we're going to test our program. So let's close this out. So we know, so you're going to go in here. I gave you a sample program. So you're going to go to your documents, and you can take the zip file, okay, that you find in Iconostoga, and you're going to basically take from your Windows desktop and just drag it over and paste it right into the documents folder. Now you have permissions to read and write to this location. And then just right click and then extract here. Okay, we want to extract. You can keep this or you can delete it. I'm going to delete it because I don't need it. And what I want you to do is take a look in this document right here. Might be handy. Okay, so we're gonna keep this one open. This document shows you how to set up all kinds of serial communications in Linux. You can install SOCAT if you want. It shows you how to connect your USB adapters if you want, and make sure that if your USB adapter is USB 3, then in your VMware settings you have to make sure that your compatibility is there. That command that we just used is also in this document. But one thing that we need to do in order to have access, to to be able to have programmatic access to devices, we have to give the particular user that wishes to run the programs, we have to add them to the group, TTY and dial out. In order to use the programs that I'm going to show you. So that's what we have to do first. So let's open it up. I actually forgot to do this. So what you want to go here, just take these two commands. Now my username, it's Michael. So your username, it's going to be something different. So you have to add your username to the particular group that has access to TTY and dial out. So you say sudo user mod. So I'm modifying my user, and I want to add TTY. I'm adding to the group, TTY, user mod -a, add to the group TTY. I'm adding Michael to the group. Push enter, and it's going to ask for my password. Put in the password. Then I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm doing it for the dial out group. So I need to add my username to that group so that I have permissions to do that. And so I've done that. I've already added my password, so it allows for that. Now, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to reboot and then log back in to Linux. So let me go here. I'm going to power off, so I'm going to close this, and then we'll just check what groups. Actually, you want to do this. So let's just type here. You can go reboot, or we can go here and just basically reboot. All right, I'm going to pause the video while it reboots. Okay, it's almost finished rebooting, logging in. And now what you can do, just to make sure that your user, is a member of those groups, all you got to do is type here groups. So I am a member of the Michael group. I'm TTY and dial out. And you need to be a member because when you go and execute the commands, your user has to be able to access that device. You need permissions on that device. The two ports, COM port 6 and COM port 7. In order for this to work. All right. So next what we need to do is we need to go in. So we've got our documents. You've downloaded this program. Now, one thing, you can read through this document if you like. Now, what we want to do is we want to open up Visual Studio Code, and we want to open up two separate versions of this program in case you want to edit things. Because you're going to want to play with these and make changes. So open up Visual Studio Code, and we're going to open two instances of VS Code. So we have, and I've already kind of opened this. So I have RX on this one, and if I open up a new window, I want to open up another one. I want to open up TX on this side. So go here, go to open folder. So I've got RX on this side. I need TX on this side, and say OK. And then this can go here. I'm interested. Let's go here. Include and source. All right. So I want to show you what these programs do. Your job is going to be to explain. So we have our client is the mains. we have the interface, which is the .h files, and we have the implementation, which is the .cpp file. The only difference, okay, the between these two instances of the program, the only difference is in the main, is in the client, okay? Because, okay, look, it basically does the same thing. This guy is going to be used for let me see, this is receive. This one is going to be used for send. And the ports that are used are going to be different. Okay, so if you look, I'll show you where to look for which program uses which port. Okay, first off, port 1, okay, and port 2 are the same. They're both the same in each program. If you're using physical USB to RS232 adapters, this is likely to be the name of your ports. Okay, and I've used this program to show communication in that way. Here, this example that I'm showing you here is using the virtual COM ports. So COM6 and COM7 are TTY-S1 and TTY-S2 in the devices folder. Okay, so if you want to know which program, I mean, they're basically the same here. I'm using a baud rate of 9600 because later I want to communicate with the Windows side. Okay, so we have our bit rate here, baud rate of 9600. Okay, so all of these are the same. So this and this is the same. The only difference, and even the implementation, okay, if you look at the implementation, it's the same. Okay, the file is exactly the same. The difference is in the client. So one client, okay, this client is the RX, okay, so this client uses port number 2. Okay, so port 2 we saw is COM7. Okay, this guy uses port 1, and we see that port 1 is a COM6. Okay, so the transmit side, okay, this is our transmit side. All right, you can see ours TX right here. This is receive. Okay, and so the main difference is going to be here in the main. Your job is going to be to figure out how these programs work and explain them. If you'd like to do a video, that's great. That would work really well. They're not as complicated as the Windows side. Okay, now what we have to do here is first we want to show that we can communicate between these two programs. And one simple way to do it is open up a terminal. Okay, and first thing we want to do is I've already set things up for you. Okay, I'm assuming that S1 and S2 are COM6 and COM7 because remember I tested S0 was taken and I added 2, so they're going to go in S1 and S2. Okay, and my assumption is that I added COM6 first, so that's S1. I added COM7 next, and that's S2. Okay, I'm assuming that it's correct. Another way to actually be sure is to add them one at a time and see which port was added using that dmessage grep command. Okay, but I'm assuming this is correct. So in order to run these programs, what we need to do is type ls. Okay, I'm in the right location, and I'm also in the right location here. So if I type make clean, it will clean out whatever's in the bin folder, the executable that may have been done previously. Make clean. Okay, so if there's anything in the bin folder, then it's now gone. So now I'm going to go to just type make, and it compiles, so that's good. And I'm going to type make again. It also compiles. So if I want to run, the first thing I got to do is I got to run the receive side. So I go to cd bin. Okay, and I'm going to go cd here, cd bin on the send side. Okay, now there is a timeout. So when I run, if I run main is the executable, the name in there. If I run main, I'm going to type main in both terminals. Okay, I have to run the receive first and then run the send. And there is a timeout, and you'll see where that is in this program when you study the program and you study the API. But I want you to run, as soon as you run the receive, click on the transmit side and push enter. There is a good delay of a couple seconds. Okay, so it's sent 23 bytes. The message was 23 bytes. The number of bytes that were written were 23 bytes on the transmit side. On the receive side, it did read those 23 bytes, and it's outputting here the content of those messages. It's just saying this is a test message. Okay, so this confirms that it works. Again, your job is to go through the sources where this file was, how this project was developed. Okay, some of the source files, and go through and see and maybe make a little video of how this works. Okay, and then you be able to describe at debrief. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time in the project. All right. Have a good day.